lively gain, is what I would do. And this actually, if you know this rule actually will pique people's interest to bring the policy down, right? If a client has a cash value policy, I just kind of skim through it real quick, and then I do bank A, bank B. You have to show these points and get the commitment before you show it to them as their policy, okay? They can't know what you're doing. They can't know that you're trying to show them a life insurance policy, otherwise they're not going to answer the way you want them to answer, right? So you have to get those commitments up front. Now, I've had it in the past where clients have cash value policies, and they tell me, oh yeah, you can borrow and all this stuff, and then they don't want to bring it out. So I say, hey, no problem. Let us play a little game with you. And I go to this process, all of a sudden they're walking out to go get their policies, because like they get so disturbed. The point of this is to disturb the client. You need to disturb them so bad that they want to actually say, no, that's not how mine works. No, this is exactly how yours works. No, let me go get it. Let me show you. Mine doesn't work that way. Right, Nick? There was a couple times we did this, right? Yeah. And then they couldn't, we have it in the safe. Yeah, okay. It's in the safe in the bank. All of a sudden, they walk to the bedroom and walk out like 2 seconds later, like if it was on top of their bed or something, okay? It's a copy. It's a copy of it, right?
You said that you would have asked them more questions.
Yeah, I'm going to go to that right now. Okay, so this is what I would do. Let's say and like I said, you did a great job, Charlie. What I would do is just ask, there's a couple of questions that I would write these questions down. You want to ask them in a certain spot. And what I would do is say, okay, now, Albert, what I want to do is I want to play a little game with you, right?
Okay.
Give me the name of one of your best friends.
Sandra.
Sandra, okay. So let's just say, and you want to do really like in a role play, let's just say that your friend Sandra calls you up one day, Albert, and she says, hey, Albert, I'm going to open up a bank down the street, and I want you to be my first client.
Cool.
Now, she's your best friend, right? So you probably invest in her, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sandra tells you that she wants you to invest $150 a month into her bank. Now, if you did that every month for 1 year, how much would you have at the end of the year?
Somewhere from.
I'm writing it down, right?
Okay. 1,800.
Most people don't know that, right? About $1,800, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you should have $1,800 after 1 year. And so you call up Sandra a year later and say, hey, Sandra, hey, how are you? Hey, listen, just want to know how much money I have in my account. And she tells you you have zero. How does that sound to you?
Not good at all.
Would you invest in her bank right?
No.
No way, right? Now, the only reason why I'm sharing this is because it's a visual, right? You didn't put that in there. Right. You just said zero, right? But now it's a visual. $1,800, you have zero. So this is no good, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Now let's just say we just talked about the rule of 72, and you call up Sandra and you tell Sandra, hey, what's the rate of return I'm earning on my investment? And she says you're getting anywhere from 1 to 5% rate of return, and she controls and sets that interest rate. How does that make you feel?
Not good at all.
Does that sound good to you?
No.
No way, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Now let's just say that you want to get some money out. You call Sandra and you say, hey, Sandra, listen, I need to get some money out. She says, hey, that's no problem. You can take the money out, but I'm going to charge you anywhere from 4 to 8% interest to borrow your own money. How does that sound to you? I mean, if you went to the bank and said, hey, I need to take $100 out, and they gave you $80, how would that sound to you? Would you be happy about that?
No.
No way, right? Okay. Now, if you had an emergency, Albert, how fast would you need that money?
Like today, like
you
yesterday.
Like
right.
yesterday, right?
Right.
Right? So look at, you call up Sandra and you ask Sandra, hey, I need to take my money. She says, hey, that's no problem, but you're going to have to wait up to about 6 months to get your money. So now you're going to have to plan your emergencies, right? So if you want to take your wife out to dinner, you better plan on taking her out in October. Right? How does that sound to you?
Sounds crappy.
You would not do that, right?
Mm-mm.
Last but not least, let's just say after 10 years you have about $10,000 in this account. Okay, who would you want that money to go to, Alvin?
To my mom.
To your mom? Okay, so you want to go to Sandra, right? Well, you know what? Sandra, she's such a close, people fight over money, right?
Right.
Well, Sandra's she's so nice, so considerate. She doesn't want your family to fight.
Okay.
So she's going to keep all your cash. How does that sound to you? Does that sound good?
It sounds horrible, man.
Okay, so this is the question right here, okay? Let me ask you, Albert, would you knowingly invest in a bank that worked like that?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, so if you wouldn't, if you had your money that worked in a bank like that, how fast would you move it out?
Yesterday.
Like tonight, right?
Right.
You have to ask that question because you just got a commitment that they would never do that And if they found that they did, they would move it now. Not next week or next month or let me think about it. They said they would move it, he said yesterday. And I said, you move it like right now, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. That's the pre-close, right? You ask a question like that because when he starts to backpedal down the road, I can come back to that question. And he said, I'm kind of confused. Earlier, after I showed him his policy and I showed him how he's being ripped off and everything, and he said, oh, you know what? I got to think about it. I want to talk to my agent. You can kind of talk to him like you're confused. You know what, Albert? I'm kind of confused here. Earlier, when I asked you these questions and I said this, you said you would never invest in a bank that work like that.
Right.
And you also said that if you had your money in a bank like that, you'd move it like tonight.
That's
I'm
correct.
just kind of confused. I mean, what's changed in the last 5 minutes?
I just need to talk to her.
You just need to talk to her. Let me ask you a question. If you went to the dentist to pull out a tooth, and that dentist pulled out the wrong tooth, would you go back to that dentist?
No.
So then why would you need to talk to your agent about this if they did the wrong thing for you?
Yeah.
Because I want to give them a chance to come clean.
Once a crook, always a crook.
Oh, he has somebody that told him that.
Because that,
He has somebody that told him that.
well, you know what? It's like Gary McCrumman said, somebody that doesn't answer the right way here, you get up and you walk out. And it's true, right? If somebody is not going to move forward, they finish telling you, no, and then you show them and they're telling you they're going to give somebody else a chance to come clean and to fix this issue, they're never going to move forward with you. They're never going to move forward with you. But I don't know about if you explain this properly. I never found anybody tell me that.
Right.
I've never had somebody tell me that. If you ask the right question and you ask those questions, see, somebody can tell you that if you don't ask those questions, it's hard to come back and for them to say certain things. You know what I'm saying? If you're asking certain questions.
So after you did this, would you normally go to the?
Not yet. So what I do, I say like, now you know what? I say, Albert, now this is not actually a bank. Okay, we're actually talking about a life insurance policy.
Wow.
Okay, and this is actually called cash value life insurance. Okay, and then what I do is I write all this stuff down here. I'm trying to pique their interest, right? Especially if they haven't brought the policy out. I'll say it goes by the name of whole life, variable life, universal life, flexible life. It doesn't matter what the heck you call it. Whenever you have life insurance and savings combined together, it works just like that. I'm not going to say I don't know if yours works like that. I actually would say it works just like that.
I think mine said universal.
Okay.
I remember something.
Well, yours works just like that.
Show me.
Now, let's just say that this was a $200,000 life insurance policy, okay? Term insurance is about a third of the cost. So let's just say that you can get that for about $50 a month. How much do I save you every month?
100.
$100, right? So you have to let the client answer the question, right? It's $100. I'm not saying for you guys to answer, but I'm just saying you wait for them to answer, right? It's $100 a month I save you, correct?
Correct.
So if you were to put $100 away every month into a cookie jar, not even in an investment, but if you just put it in a cookie jar, assuming your kids don't know the money's in the cookie jar, right? How much money would you have at the end of 12 months?
1,200.
So with not even investing this, you would have $1,200 at the end of a year. Is that better than having zero?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Now, if you were to actually take that and invest it, and we talked about the rule of 72, if you can get an 8 to 12% rate of return, is that better than getting only a 1 to 5% rate of return?
Definitely.
Okay. All right. And then, if you actually wanted your money, it's your money. You don't have to borrow it.
Okay.
Is that better than having to pay 4 to 8% interest to borrow?
Yes.
Okay. And you said if you had an emergency, you need your money right away, right?
Right.
Well, see, in a mutual fund, when you request for that money, typically it takes about 24 to 48 hours, but the maximum would be about 7 days. Is that better than having to wait 6 months for your money?
Yes.
All right? And then, you've been earning a higher rate of return, so let's just say after 10 years you have $20,000 in that account. Who did you say you want that money to go to, Albert?
My mom.
You want it for your mom, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, over here, if you pass away, your mom is going to get both. Okay? She will get $200,000 from the life insurance company, and she gets $20,000 from the investment company. She gets $220,000.
Wow.
Over here, if you die, your mom gets $200,000, but they keep the cash. So if you had an option, if this was called Bank A, and this was called Bank B, which bank would you bank in?
B.
Some of the time or all the time?
All the time.
Okay, now, if you were currently right here, Albert, in this position right now, is there anything that I could do to convince you to go over here, where you would actually have no money after a year,
Hell no.
pay money tomorrow,
Nope,
have to wait
nope,
6 months,
nope,
and then keep your
Nope,
cash?
nope, nope.
Okay, great. Let me show you your policy.
Okay.
Now, just go straight to the policy and start breaking it down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't get objections on that when you ask the question. I mean, I don't replace them. I'm not saying that I replace them all, right? Sometimes you go and show the policy, you run numbers, and they want to think about it, whatever. But people that do that are typically not going to move forward, right? They're typically not going to move forward. And they typically don't move forward with anybody. This typically was the case, right? Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
I actually, sometimes I show the video clips. You guys know those video clips of Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey? I used to do this all the time. And then actually I started, if I'm in a house where I'm like in a living room or a kitchen and I see that they have a TV not too far away, I used to always ask for the DVD. I'd be like, hey, do you have a DVD in your hand somewhere? And they're like, oh yeah, it's right here. Oh, do you mind playing this? I want my new trainee to see this video. I always use the trainee, right? Let's say I'm training Carlos. Hey, I want Carlos to see this video. I want him to see this for training. Yeah, sure, come on over here. And they put it in, they hit play, and we sit there and we watch it
That's perfect.
for a few minutes. And as soon as they
That's
see
clever.
that, it's like, I want to replace it. Let's change it now. I've had clients stop the video and tell me, let's change it. Let's replace
Like it. Like
Without me having to do all this. Now, if it doesn't work, I'll come and do this, right? I come and show them this process because I know it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay?
Good.
Any questions on that?
No.
That was good though, Carlos. I actually like that objection about, that's actually good, where I said, hey, if I could do this,
I like that one.
I'm here.
That's a good idea.
So what you said also, it makes, because what it does, what you just did, it's like, they're calling themselves an idiot.
If they don't go ahead, yeah.
Right? So you could ask it right here at the end and say, hey, listen, let me ask you, Albert, if you share this information with somebody else and they were here and you showed them all these rules and they didn't move forward, what would you call somebody that didn't move forward? Well, I call them an idiot. Okay, great, let me show you the But see, I would do what you said,
Right.
but I also got the close
I like
at the
that one.
beginning.
Yeah.
They would move it, they would not wait, and, right? And all that together is like a solid close,
Right.
okay?
Right on. No room to wiggle.